Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good middle of the night, whatever time you're watching this. I hope you are doing excellently well. Welcome to another reading vlog. This week we are going to be focusing on reading one specific book before the month ends, and that is The Maidens, which is my Patreon book club pick for July and August. But I really want to get this into this month if I can. I don't really have much to say on this yet because I literally started it quite late last night and fell asleep quite quickly. So I am a prologue and a chapter in. I don't know anything about it yet. I know that the chapters are pretty short in this, which I hope will make it quite addictive and fast-paced to read because it will be that just one more chapter syndrome. Other than that, I know nothing. So this is my current read for the week. This is the WATERSTONES edition, which has black spray pages that are very pretty. And I'm really excited. I've been looking forward to reading this one. I've heard really good things. I haven't read The Silent Patient by the same author, but I'm really hoping that I enjoy this. So this is my current read entering into this week. There's also something else I want to talk to you guys about. I questioned putting this in a vlog or not, but I have shared this on Instagram. I've shared it on Twitter. I've been open about it. And I feel like I want to be open about it here too, because the amount of people that have messaged me saying thank you for being open about it, I think means that clearly if it helps one person feel less shit, then worth it. So I don't often or ever talk about my clothing size online. I don't share that kind of thing. I don't think it's something that I've ever really thought about before. But the following things I'm going to show you have made me think, no, this is not okay. Whatever is happening with the clothing industry here, this is not okay. And to tell you why it's not okay, it is relevant for me to share what kind of sizing clothing I normally order. So the following clip's going to be talking about this and clothing sizes within the beauty industry and these unrealistic expectations they set on women, and also how we see different clothing sizes in different stores and how none of it actually adds up. I also touch a little bit on body dysmorphia as well. If that's anything that you don't want to see, that's absolutely fine. I'll pop a little timestamp up here and you can skip directly to it. I know it's a bit of a different thing for me to be talking about, but I just feel like this is really important to normalise clothing sizes and normalise feeling good in your clothes. So buckle in. So to start with, I normally buy size 12 to 14 trousers. It completely depends on where I'm shopping, what shop I'm in. For example, Fat Face seems to be size 12 for me, whereas New Look would definitely be a size 14. I am currently wearing a size 12 pair of trousers that have like loads of loose room in them, so it really completely varies and I just can't predict it. This is already an example of how clothing shops don't all follow the same kind of size guides and everyone is different. So, bought myself this pair of shorts from a company called Stradivarius. I've ordered from them before, I've ordered shirts from them and I've been really impressed with the quality of the shirts. So I bought this pair of shorts, they're about 25 quid or something like that, 19 pounds, I don't know how much they were. But I thought they were cute, they've got little daisies on them. I went for a size 14 because I didn't know what the bottom part of this brand fit were like, so I got a size 14 and it arrived and I got it out and I was like, that looks quite small. Looks more like a 10 than a 14. Tried them on, could barely get them over my bum, couldn't do them up. I thought, okay, interesting, right, we'll go up a size because I really like these and I have trained my brain now to kind of not think about the number on a label and just think about the fact that I feel good in those clothes. You are not made to fit your clothes are made to fit you. So yeah, I thought, let's go a size up. So the size up arrived last night. It's a size 16. This is the biggest size that they did on ASOS. And I don't know about you guys, but this looks remarkably similar to the other pair. For a whole clothes size up, I don't see the difference. This is the 16, this is the 14. I'm gonna hold them like right up against each other. That's the difference. In a whole clothing size up, you get that much extra room. Now, it's safe to say the 16 also wouldn't do up. I could, if I really squeezed, I could do these up, but I couldn't zip them up. It was a great look, as I'm sure you can imagine. So 14 and 16 didn't fit me. So I thought I'd just have a look at these 16s and compare them to a size 12 pair of trousers I own and a size 14 pair of trousers. So this is my favourite pair of jeans I own. They are a size 14 pair of boyfriend jeans from Marks & Spencer's. I personally find Marks & Spencer's do really good fit trousers. They are good quality, they last me a long time. I'm all for it. So, given that these are a size 16, we'd expect them to be bigger than these ones. Obviously they're not going to be because I couldn't do them up. Are you kidding me? The size 14s are bigger than the size 16s. Right, okay. Then we've got this pair of Jamie jeans from Topshop, which are a size 12. Now, you might notice the label's still on these. I love the Jamie jeans from Topshop, and I got these a while ago when there was a sale on, and I was going to wait for my current Jamie jeans to wear down before I wore these. They haven't worn down yet, so these are kind of reserved jeans, weirdly. These are a size 12, unworn from Topshop. So obviously we expect the size 16 shorts to be bigger than the size 12 trousers. The size 12 trousers are literally minorly bigger. If I lay this down and take a picture of it, which I have done, so I will put the picture up here, you can see that the size 12, when laid down flat, me holding them up probably isn't the best demonstration, are bigger than the size 16 shorts. Now the point of me saying all of this basically is to highlight how varying the sizes in clothing companies are. This is ridiculous from Stradivarius. I am really disappointed. I've asked them why this is the case and if they have anything to say about it, because I am intrigued to see how they defend this, because that is honestly, like, I've put a picture up on social media saying these are the sizes with those trousers. This is ridiculous. And I know obviously clothing companies are going to use vastly different sizes from each other because they're all doing their own designs and their own makes of the clothing, but that is shocking, and I think that's probably going to encourage people to have body dysmorphia about their sizing, because those sizes from Stradivarius just do not follow either of normal shops' sizings. I say normal because I don't know which shops are normal sizings, but obviously we've all got our shops that we prefer to buy trousers from and places that we're never going to buy trousers from, like Stradivarius for me. Now those shorts might fit you perfectly and that's great, but the fact that a size 16 is smaller than a size 12, I think, is going to be quite difficult for people to be able to shop there and for people to understand what size they are, because I did measurements and recommendations and based on that it told me I should get the 14. It's just, I just don't understand how that's okay. So I wanted to include that in the vlog because when I shared it on Twitter and I shared it on Instagram, people were thanking me for sharing it because it was making them feel better about the fact that this is literally just a number on a label and we can see how ridiculous some clothing companies make it. And if you go into X shop and you can't fit into the size you would in another shop, that should not make you feel crap. That shouldn't do anything like that to you, because these clothes are all varying. The clothes are there to fit you. You get the size you need, the size that fits, the size you feel comfortable in. If you want to, you can cut out the label, but that is ridiculous. And no, I'm really interested to see if that company actually messages me back and says anything about this, because they surely have had other people saying this is a problem. So I'm gonna send both of those shorts back for a refund now, but I wanted to share it with you. I hope this was kind of interesting to be able to see. I hope it helps in some way, but Good evening, it's Monday night and I thought to myself, why not come and read by a castle? So here we are, Monday night adventure. Welcome. Very, very happy I came up here. I'm trying to live more in the moment because I spend a lot of time thinking about the future or the past and not enough moment living. So I'm really glad I came up here. I love this spot. You've got the castle and then like the edge of where the castle used to be, and I'm kind of sitting in what used to be part of the castle, and then this looks over to my town. This was one of my favourite places to come as a kid. Used to come here a lot, still do come here a lot. I love it. So I've just been sat reading The Maidens, which I'm really enjoying. I'm up to chapter 14, page 61. This is our book club pick for my patrons. If you do want to join along with us, it's the pick for July and August, so there's loads of time still. There is a link down below, but I am really enjoying it so far. The first chapter or two I was a bit squiffy about. I was just not really vibing it. I don't know why, and now I am. So we're good now, and I'm invested, and I really enjoy the way it's setting itself up. It's a dark academia, I believe, and we've already got that kind of setting going on. It's set in Cambridge at the moment, and partially talks about settings in Greece as well, and I'm just really enjoying getting that setting out of it, but also seeing the traits of a dark academia novel fit into place and seeing how it's setting up the characters and the grief and the loss that they're feeling as well, and just everything that's creating their characterization for us to feel something for them is already falling into place beautifully. So I'm very intrigued to see how it continues. Very much looking forward to that. But I have to join my Patreon live chat now soon for the last book club read, which was The Shadow of the Wind. I'm thinking I might do it here because I can do it on my phone. It's... I don't know if you heard that, nice peaceful spot, but the motorway is just over there. So I might just join it on my phone and sit here because it's too lovely to leave. And I'm very happy and content, so feeling good. I had a weird start to the day. I just felt a little bit high on anxiety and I don't really know why. And I think coming up here was the perfect idea to kind of calm my brain a bit and just enjoy being in nature because it makes me happy. So unexpectedly good weather means sitting on top of a castle with a really good book. I don't know how good of an idea it is to go for a walk in a forest after sitting and reading 60 or so pages of a book that contains a scene about a serial killer, but here we are. I was intending to go back to my car and drive back home. I like the natureness and mild peril that could come with walking in the forest, but it's all good. It's all good. I've sent my friends my live location. So, I've seen people raving about this book, and usually when I see people raving about a book, I pick up the book, I have a read, and I think, I don't like it as much as everyone else does, what's wrong with me? But, not the case. Not the case with this book. Loving it. Loving it. I'm tabbing. Look at me. I've got colour-coded tabs going on. I've also ordered some translucent sticky notes because I've been writing my sticky notes in and they're not very pretty. And like when I put them on top of text, I cannot see what's underneath the text. So yeah, I need to get some translucent ones. They're on the way. I got them from Etsy. Hopefully they're good, but I am wanting to write a lot down in this. I'm only like just under the 100-page mark, but so far there is a lot going on. And there is also some stuff that I'm really hoping is deliberate and not consent ignoring, if that's a word. There's been like 2 scenes so far in which 2 different male characters have approached a female character, the same female character, and kind of insisted upon seeing her or taking her for a coffee or walking her to a certain location. And when she has said no, they've kept pushing and then subsequently have just not really taken no for an answer and have said like, oh, well, we'll do something else then, and haven't accepted the no. So I am hoping that is deliberate. I think it probably is, with the theme of this being about a manipulative male character controlling this like group of students, I think is the premise of where this is going to go from the blurb. I think it's got that secret history vibe to it, in the sense of there's this group of students who are all kind of within this, not cult quite like that, but you know, that kind of an intense environment within university, and their teacher is possibly manipulating that situation, I think is the kind of plot we go down, and we see our main character trying to poke holes in this and find out what the hell is actually going on. So I'm hoping that the idea of men ignoring consent and ignoring the fact that she's saying no is being used deliberately as a plot device. I hope. I really hope. But I am absolutely loving this. It is Tuesday. I think I forgot to say that it's Tuesday, so I have got the week to read this before we reset and have a new month. I don't think that'll be an issue because, yeah, yesterday I read up to page 80 and didn't really feel like I'd read that much. Like it feels like a very easy read, which is good because I was worried it would be heavy, but it isn't, so we're all good. Really, really enjoying the Maidens so far. The next part of this video is going to be an ad working in conjunction with DNA Norwich. They are a brand new independent bookshop and Urban Art Gallery. They're opening up in store but also online, so you can order from them, and they have an amazing selection of books and also art prints. They do actually try and get American covers of books over, which I find very exciting. I don't know if anyone else gets like this, but when I went to Canada years and years back, I just got so excited seeing all the American covers. So the fact that DNA Norwich offer those American covers as and when they are able to get hold of them is very, very exciting. But they've got an amazing selection of books and art prints, as I said. They've also got a deal running at the moment where if you order over £50 worth of books and or art prints from them between the 7th and the 10th of August, you will get a free tote bag, which is really cool. They sent me through a few bits, one of them being this art print that says "Kill them with kindness." This gives me serious Killing Eve vibes because we've got like the little drip of blood. I don't know if you can see with the lighting in here, but there's like the little drip of blood within the letters. It's so glittery and I love the colours. They also allowed me to pick some books, so I picked The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin, and I also picked Six Angry Girls by Adrian Kisner. So I got both of these ones in a hardback. They sent them over to me. They have such a wide selection of books, and I think the fact that they're getting those American copies in as well when they can just shows that they're going to have a really, really wide catalogue, which is very, very exciting. And also the fact that when you buy from them, you are of course supporting an independent bookshop and urban art gallery. I think it's so cool that they're combining those two. That is going to create such a cool space, and you can see that in the way that they want to step away from conventional spaces associated with those kind of shops and go somewhere that feels really warm, really welcoming, but also has that unexpected tone to it. So I will, as I said, drop all the information for DNA Norwich down below. I'm very, very excited to be working with them on this promotion and seeing them go from their journey of setting up the shop to launching the shop. It's really exciting to be able to see that happen. So thank you to DNA Norwich for working with me on this promotion, and thank you to anyone who is going to go check them out because they really do deserve all the love and are an amazing online and in-store experience. Okay, that's my ad done. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about that. I hope you enjoyed hearing about the Maidens. I don't really have any plans today. I spontaneously went up to the castle last night, so I might do something spontaneous after work, I don't know. It's sunnier than I expected. I'm saying sunnier like sunnier. It's cloudy with sun coming through the cloud, but more so than I expected it to be today. I thought it was meant to be raining all week, so maybe I'll do something after work. I don't know. At the moment I'm sat working with the Olympics on in the background. I feel like I'm becoming a pro in the women's skateboarding and also the rugby, which I have never ever watched before, and suddenly am, dare I say, enjoying watching? I don't know, it's a new experience for me, but here we are. So that's my Tuesday morning update. I hope you guys are all doing really well. Oh, actually, do you know what? I'm gonna throw something out there that I haven't mentioned since I got nominated, but last month, maybe last month, I was somehow nominated for the Blogosphere Book Influencer of the Year category, which is amazing. The awards are held in September. I think the voting ends in August. I can't remember exactly, like midway through August, I think. But I've been nominated in the book category, and that's just like, what? That's amazing. So if you did fancy voting for me, because it's been a while since I've mentioned it, so I'll just maybe mention it now and then once more before the voting closes, but if you did fancy voting for me, it would mean the absolute world to me. It would be truly amazing, and I will pop a link down below. I'm on the second page, I think, obviously under the book category. Beth, Books Nest, it's me. So thank you if anyone has already voted, and thank you so much if you're going to vote. I can't really believe that I'm even up for it, to be honest. Being featured in some way linked to Blogosphere has been like a silent dream of mine for a few years now, and to be up for an award with them is... So yeah, thank you to everyone that's helped me get to this place. I feel like I'm wrapping up the vlog. I'm not, but yeah, thanks guys, feeling grateful, and I will let future Beth take over now with whichever clip you see next. Hello, it is Wednesday morning and I am bringing you a very quick update because any minute now I've got a man coming around to fit a blind in my bedroom because the one that my mum's friend made me when I moved in is peeling back because of the glue in the heat. It's falling down in the middle of the night, which is a great fun experience to wake me up in the middle of the night and scare the crap out of me. Anyway, really, really quickly wanted to share my thoughts on the Maidens because I've got a busy day today and I don't want to forget to do this. But oh my gosh, loving this book so much. Really addictive, can't stop reading it, can't stop thinking about reading it. But I have two things I want to kind of throw out there. One, there is a murder in this book, like that is the premise, this is a murder mystery. Immediately we are saying the murderer is a man. We're just assuming it's a man, and every time they reference something to do with it or looking for suspects, it is all about men. there's never any conception that it could have been a woman, and that is getting on my nerves a little bit, because at no point have they specifically found any evidence that would indicate it was a man. And it's like they immediately just jump to that conclusion, which is bugging me. I don't like, it's just getting on my nerves that that's the conclusion they jump to immediately, but also there's like no thought that a woman would have the capacity to do that kind of thing, which seems just like a silly thing to dismiss. So that's getting on my nerves a little bit. Two, the other thing that's getting on my nerves a little bit, and again, I am loving this book, but I do think that it's not without flaws. But the second thing, I think I've already mentioned about how like there's this weird issue with consent and that all the men seem to just not listen to no. But what's specifically on my nerves as well is the way that Mariana has these men just fawning over her, and like every single man just seems to be obsessed with her or like really fancy her, and it just seems to be like every man, and there's something weird about every male character in this book so far, and the fact that she's getting that kind of attention from them, it just feels really weirdly written in that sense, and awkward, because it feels like it is written by a man, which it is, but it does seem to be the kind of situation where it's like men falling over her, she doesn't know how beautiful she is and they're telling her that, and like they're kind of insisting and forcing themselves on her in a way, and that does add to the overall atmosphere of creepiness and this weird situation that's going on and what the hell is happening. But I think those two things combined are certainly reminding me that this book is written by a man, which I feel bad saying, because just because something is written by a man, it doesn't mean it's going to follow X, Y, and Z tropes or have X, Y, and Z direction. I'm not saying that, but sometimes I think it does come across as quite obviously grouped in one way or another when you do have a female protagonist and you are seeing things like this reflected. It's a shame that it's falling into some of those stereotypical brackets. It doesn't stop me from enjoying it, but I don't think I could not say that about it, because it is glaringly obvious. But also, maybe it's deliberate that there's something weird with the men in this book, because I don't think I've met a man yet that isn't strange in some way, that isn't good. So maybe it's deliberate. I hope it's deliberate, because surely everything written in this fiction is deliberate. It's all there for a reason, but I don't know yet. So thing one, why are we always assuming that the killers in these kind of books are men? Two, why do we have to have this kind of stereotypical situation of, oh, I didn't realise how beautiful I was and all these men are fawning over me, every single man I meet, and it's just, yeah, a little annoying. But fantastic, fantastic book. Okay, I said it before the guy fitting my blinds got here. Win. I will probably catch up with you tomorrow. Hi, my name's Beth. It's Thursday afternoon, and have you heard of our Lord and Saviour, the Maidens? So good, such a good book, really enjoying it, tabbing the crap out of it. I've got a lot of post-it notes going on inside and a lot of tabs going on in the pages, and oh my gosh, the things to say about this book. So first up, I am here, I'm page 216, so I've still got 140 pages to go. I don't want to finish it, but at the same time I need to finish it. So first up, I need to talk about the male-female divide in this book, because I feel like it's a really clear-cut divide down the middle there of women being a little bit helpless and vulnerable, but also being very maternal and being the caregivers, whereas the men seem to be a lot more territorial and have this aggression built up in them and have this assertive, won't take no for an answer way about them. Now, I'm saying this not as a critique of the book, because I'm so sure that this is done deliberately. This book is very clever. This book looks a lot at mythology, and it looks a lot at stories that we can translate to mean something different within the story of this book. So it really is almost a retelling of multiple different mythologies and multiple different older stories throughout history. And I think for that reason, what is happening with this divide in genders is hopefully a obvious point. However, as the author is a man, I'm always wary that that could mean that we are seeing these things not necessarily deliberately, but they are through the author's male gaze, and actually that's a flaw of the author. But I'm pretty sure it's all going to come to some kind of fruition, because at the moment, as I think I've already said, we seem to have a couple of male characters having a real issue with a woman saying no to them. We've also got a couple of times when I feel like the women are made to look a hell of a lot more vulnerable because they are women, and it's like the men are always there to save them. And there have been quite a few moments where this is the case, like several different moments where the man has been there at the right time in the right place to save the the woman in some way or another, whether it's getting them out of something they didn't want to do or quite literally saving them from a more perilous situation. So there are things like that happening, and it is really difficult to tell yet if that is part of the plot or if that's an actual issue with the writing. And it's funny how those kind of things are so finely contrasted, because if it's an issue with the writing, that's a whole other problem and that would affect the way I reviewed this book. But if it's part of the plot and it's part of the story and it's deliberate, that is completely different and like completely flips it over, which is funny because I don't know the intent yet. There is certainly a lot of male gaze stuff. There's a whole scene in which we are introduced to younger female characters, and they're completely described by what they're wearing and the length of their skirt and their body shapes, and they're meant to be being seen by a female character, and this is how they're described. And whilst it's not first person, it still feels like we're seeing it from her perspective, and I just don't think that's what she would have noticed first about them, the length of their skirts, for example, which were not really anything that needed to be noted at all. And that's where I'm kind of thinking, okay, are we seeing the male gaze deliberately, or are we seeing it reflecting from the author's writing style? I have not read The Silent Patient by this author, so I don't know, but I am really liking this. I am obsessed with sitting down to read this. The cleverness of the plot and the way that it does integrate this mythology into it and these older stories and these works of classic literature as well, the way it's integrating that into the plot to become hints and clues to the characters that we're seeing and the characterizations being formed is very interesting to me and is making me want to read more around the subjects that it's talking about, such as the element of the Maidens, which was a nickname for Persephone, who is someone that's popping up a lot in this book and actually a lot in books I am reading in general at the moment. I've seen, I think, 3 books in the past month or 2 have mentioned Persephone in them, so that's interesting. But I really want to finish this. As I said, I want to know what happens, I want to know what conclusion we come to, but at the same time I'm really enjoying pouring myself into this. This is dark academia to a T. The way it describes the scenes, the settings, the characters, the thrill of the mystery, it just all so perfectly fits into that dark academia vibe. It feels like smoky, musty browns, blacks, greys, dark gloom, with that intelligence and that kind of academic setting at Cambridge University, and oh, it's exactly what I wanted from a dark academia. I'm loving it. I'm so glad this is my Patreon pick because there is so much to discuss in this. And I think actually of all the books we've read so far, this one for my Patrons is my favourite. This is the 3rd Patreon book club pick, and I'm definitely saying that this is going to be setting a bar quite high. So as well as reading that, I've also got some book post. And because I've not really been going out as much, these books did indeed come in the mail. Book mail books came in the mail, hey! So I have been sent 2 books, one by publisher, one by a very, very lovely one of my patrons, and I've also received a book that I pre-ordered. So the first one that I have been sent is Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. TJ Klune is the author of The House in the Cerulean Sea, which is going to be on my TBR for next month, or is it this month by the time you're watching it? This, on my August TBR. So this one is one that I would quite like to be able to try and read in August as well, if I can finish all the books that I've set on my Fictionary TBR, because Fictionary will be live by the time you're watching this. If you don't know, I've created a TBR game. It's called Fictionary. Very excited about it. So I really, really want to get to this one. This one is about a tea shop in the woods that is for people that are moving from life to the afterlife and need help moving on, and it's about one character who goes there and tries to live like a lifetime of experiences within a week, and it just sounds like the kind of thing that's going to make you grateful to be alive and grateful to have the things that you have. I know that The House in the Cerulean Sea is meant to be very wholesome. I'm so excited to read that one, but to be sent an early copy of this one, I am over the moon. I cannot wait to read this. So I will be reading this one really, really soon. So thank you so much, Tor, for sending this one my way. I was also sent Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Blau, and this was sent to me by one of my patrons, Lily. Thank you so, so much, Lily. This looks amazing. It looks a little bit Daisy Jones inspired. We've got that kind of rock music aspect to it. It's set in the 70s. I'm very excited to read it, and also I just love that cover. I feel like this is a sign because I'm looking at getting a record player at the moment, because I'm really into music and I used to be a lot more into music. My dad is a musician and I think I've grown up with it around me. My mum's always really been into music, and I love Spotify and I love the access to all types of music that gives us. But I do think at times it can change the way we listen to music, because you can shuffle things, you can put things in a playlist, you lose the album flow sometimes when you listen to music. You don't have to, obviously, but it's a different way to listen to music, and I've been thinking recently about getting a record player to be able to listen in a different way and experience it in a different way. So I've been looking, there's a lot online, it's kind of daunting, but the fact this has got a record on the front I think is a sign to tell me to get myself a record player. So thank you so much, Lily, for sending that one to me. It is massively appreciated, and that was a nice little surprise this morning. This final book that's arrived was a pre-order, and this is The Things I Learnt and the Things I Still Don't Know About by Talitha Wing. Now, Talitha Wing is actually somebody that I went to school with. We walked back from school and to school every day for however long school lasts. So we were quite close, we lived on the same road, we've known each other since we were tiny, and to see that she has written and published a poetry collection is amazing. She is very accomplished in very many different ways. She's also an actress and a spoken word poet, but to see that she's got this collection as well, I had to buy it, and the cover is stunning, like that yellowy orange. I love it. But this is kind of an ode to young people who don't really fit inside a box and don't want to categorize themselves. Something for them to feel seen. I'm really excited to read this one, and very proud to see that she's done this, because that's amazing. So do check this one out if you wanted to. Again, it is called The Things I Learnt and the Things I Still Don't Know About. So that's my book mail. That's my update. Loving the Maidens, got 3 new books. It's all very exciting. I was going to read in my lunch break, but I've just spent time doing this update instead. So hey, welcome to Thursday. I've got 8 minutes before my lunch break ends and I have a meeting. So I'm gonna just read for 8 minutes, I suppose. I just want to introduce you to baby new leaf number 1 and baby new leaf number 2. And this is actually also a new leaf, but it's unfolded itself. I'm very proud of my little plants. It's the plant content you never knew you needed. Hello, good morning. It is Friday. It is nearly the weekend, yes. My brain, I think, has just been exhausted this week. I feel like I have just spent a lot of my brain power and my energy for the last 2 weeks on kind of mental health panics and worries. Obviously, with everything happening in the world at the moment, still my brain is not having the best time, but also I'm kind of doing like a mini isolation-ish. I'm not seeing people, but I am doing a food shop and going on walks and stuff. But it's my best friend's wedding next Saturday and I really want to be able to be there for it, so I've decided to not do things that would put myself at risk. Obviously, I can't be completely risk-free because I'm still going to food shops, but I'm doing the best I can, and with that is coming some loneliness, and knowing that I've got nothing happening at the weekend ahead is kind of making me feel a little flat, because I do get my energy from other people, but hopefully it should be okay. I'm going to film some content on Saturday and I'm going to read, although I don't know what I'm going to read, and I will tell you why in a little bit. But first, book mail books came in the mail, or just the one book, but I received an ARC copy of Gilded by Marissa Meyer. Thank you so much, Faber Books, for sending this my way. I am so excited to read it. Marissa Meyer is the author of the Lunar Chronicles series. How many books are there? 4, and then there's like side book. What's it called if there's 4 books in a series? A quadrilogy. It's a great series, and this I think is a Rumpelstiltskin retelling. I love the gold thread around the outside. I've not taken it off yet because I wanted to show you. It's so pretty. So I cannot wait to read that. What a beautiful arc. So maybe I'll read that next, possibly. Basically, whatever I read, I have to be able to finish it by tomorrow night-ish, because on Sunday, my Fictionary TBR becomes my TBR for the month because we enter into August. So the reason that I need to pick something to read is because I finished The Maidens and we're gonna chat about it. I will keep this spoiler free, but I need to share some of my thoughts. I have written out my review and I have a lot of thoughts. A lot of thoughts. Not all of them are good, but I did give this 5 stars. I think this will be in my list of best books of the year, and I thought it was fantastic. I'm not going to say it's without flaws because it certainly isn't without flaws, but there was a lot in here. It was very clever. I think it did a good job of hand-holding you through the cleverness, but not in a way that made you feel intimidated by it or even patronised by it when it was teaching you the stories that were referenced in this book. The whole time I felt very much in the know, I felt involved, it made me feel like I knew what was going on, which I think is a really good trait from a book like this, because there is a lot of references to British literature and Greek mythology, and I think it can be easy to get lost, but the way the author does it is by introducing you into those stories and telling you about them in a very easy to understand way. And in fact, that's a merit for this whole book. I think it did feel really easy to understand. I haven't read anything by this author before, but I would quite like to read The Silent Patient now. But I didn't really know what to expect going in. I thought it was going to be a bit more literary than it was, and I'm glad it wasn't. I thought it would be more flowery, but honestly, I think out of all of it, it was much more dialogue heavy, and out of all of it, the setting wasn't as expanded as I expected it to be, but that was okay. I think we got enough from the setting to form a really decent idea for it, but it didn't have that same kind of flowery, lengthy descriptions of things, which I quite liked because I think it moved it along quicker. I like dialogue heavy books, and this one was certainly dialogue heavy. I'm gonna stop holding it now and just talk to you about it. So I liked all of those things. I also liked that Mariana, our main character, was fleshed out quite decently. However, I did at times feel like she fell into a damsel in distress bracket. There's even a line in this where she says, "I don't need a knight in shining armour to come and save me," but I feel like what the author was doing was creating someone who said they didn't need these things and who he thought maybe didn't need these things. But then at every single hurdle, she comes and gets saved by a male character, and it feels like resisting almost from what the author is trying to say she is. Like, he's trying to say she's strong and she doesn't need help, and actually then every stage she does need to. But the thing is, there's nothing wrong with her needing help, there's nothing wrong with being vulnerable, but it's like he's almost painting two different pictures for her. I know throughout this week I've talked quite a lot about the idea of how the male characters are not really listening to consent, they can't seem to take no for an answer, they're all rather infatuated with her, like everybody seems to really love her and be really obsessed with her. Now, the whole way through I've been thinking, I don't know what purpose this is serving yet. I don't know if it's going to come into some kind of reference to some Greek tragedy along the way, and to be honest, I don't know enough about Greek tragedy to know if it does link to that, but I think the conclusion I've got from it, and I feel like from what I've said throughout the week, you'll see my changing opinions on this, or I suppose throughout the week they've been the same, and today I'm kind of changing my opinion. I've basically been questioning if the author is deliberately giving us the male gaze at times and giving us this awkward lack of consent, if that's deliberate, or if it's something he genuinely didn't realise he was doing. And what I would like to conclude on, in my opinion, is that this was a tact from the author to make the reader, and possibly particularly female readers, feel uncomfortable about the male characters in this book. I think it's designed to alienate us from them and see traits in them that we are basically trained to avoid in people, so that they have that alienation and so that we as a reader feel uncomfortable towards them. That's what I'd like to state. That's my theory. I definitely think we see the Oedipus complex playing parts in this book as well. We definitely have some sort of kind of strange, twisted relationship between student and teacher, and that adds to this awkward feel and adds to this whole strange cult vibe that we have going on for part of this novel. And I think that was really interesting to dig into as well and to read more about. I think generally when I finished this book, I just went and Googled a load of stuff, and it was really interesting seeing other people's reviews, because some people give this glowing reviews and some people give it literally 1-star reviews and say they thought it was flat and awful and they didn't care about the characters. And I think I can see where they're coming from, like not every character was very fleshed out and there were certainly a lot of weirder moments, but I think for me, the basis of my reviews is always going to be initially on my enjoyment. I'm obviously also going to talk critically within my reviews. I'm going to talk about the writing, I'm going to talk about the characters, the setting, the themes, but ultimately if I enjoyed a book and if I felt like I was desperate to pick it up, which is exactly how I felt with this book, if I felt like I couldn't bear to be away from it, that for me is when I know a book is going to be 4 to 5 stars, because ultimately I'm reading for my own enjoyment. I am a critical reader in the sense of I do review my books and I do talk about them on my videos, obviously, so I am going to read them with a certain critique, but ultimately I'm doing it because I enjoy it. If I enjoy a book, it is much more likely to get a higher rating from me, and I think when I was putting this one through Core Pile, it pretty much scored high across the board. Definitely on atmosphere, definitely on enjoyment, and definitely on intrigue. Whilst I feel like I did a little bit see where the ending was going, and I did partially think it could go that direction, I felt still surprised, and I felt still like I was being brought along on this oh my god moment. So I think it did a really good job. Can you hear the rain? It's really rainy. I think it did a really good job. There is so much to discuss in this book, and I have written a lot of it in my review, so if you do want to read more of my thoughts, that's at booksnest.co.uk. So I now have to pick another book to read for today and tomorrow to hopefully finish for Sunday. Now in my head I'd love to read a lot tomorrow, but also, as I said, I want to create some content, and I don't know if saying I want to read a lot is going to do the exact opposite. So I don't know yet what I'm going to pick, but as I said, I don't have any plans apart from literally filming like, I think 2 videos, if that, maybe film some reels, maybe take some Instagram photos. It depends on how gloomy it is outside. But I don't have any plans, and if it is gloomy, I'm not going to be able to go for a walk either. Or I could just go for a very wet walk. So maybe I will sit down and read a lot. Hopefully I'll do that rather than scroll through my phone. So those are my thoughts on The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great fun, certainly not without flaws, but I think the flaws almost make it even more interesting to discuss, because they're the kind of flaws I can really get my teeth stuck into and really rip apart and understand what is going wrong here and what's going right. Like, I like that kind of thing. It made me think. I think as far as a Patreon book club pick goes, this is going to be brilliant for discussions. I'm excited to have those chats. This is still the book club pick for August as well, so if you do want to have those chats with us as well, you can join my Patreon link down below. The book club is available to the Little Nest tiers onwards, and we will be discussing this come early September, which seems like it should be ages away but isn't. So yeah, super excited about that. Have to pick another read. Maybe I'll go with a non-fiction. I don't know what I fancy yet, but we shall see. Hello, happy Saturday. Today is a busy content creation day for me. I have filmed 1 video so far. I need to film another 3 and I need to edit stuff, and I've had to film my podcast episode today as well for my patrons. There's a lot, and I'm trying to read, so lots of things going on, but I've got no other plans for this weekend, as I said, so I'm all happy to be busy with content creation. I've also started a new book that I wanted to tell you about. So last night I was binge watching Manifest, and then I finished doing that and was like, okay, I need to pick up a book. I want to start something that I can finish by the end of Saturday, so that by Sunday I'm ready to roll into my August TBR, all fresh and bright-eyed, ready to hopefully win my Fictionary TBR. If you've not seen my Fictionary video, I'll try and remember to put it up here, but that's future Beth's problem. So I had to pick my next book to read, and I had a couple lined up, and I was like, yeah, I could go for these ones, but I don't know the author's style. I don't know if it's going to be something I can read quickly. So I decided to go down a safer avenue, I suppose, and pick a shorter book that I knew I should be able to finish by the end of Saturday. So I decided to pick up The Reader's Room by Antoine Lorraine. This is a French translated fiction and is very, very short. I am pretty near the end, to be honest. I read quite a lot of it last night, quite intensely. It's definitely an interesting novel. It follows a publishing house and the reader's room within that publishing house, so basically where hopeful manuscripts are sent to decide whether they're going to be published or not. And it follows the woman who runs this department and a particular manuscript that they think is fantastic, and they push it through to get published. And it turns out there's also a line of murders happening at the same time that seem to be following the plot of this book that they think is amazing, and what's going on there. Obviously this is following other plot lines as well, so we're seeing a main character's narrative and how her life has changed after something specific happened to her, and how that's going to have a play in the plot. I have some ideas, I don't know yet. I like the fact this is a book about books because this references authors that we know and books that we know, rather than books and authors that have been created for the sake of this book. I always like that the best, personally, with books about books. But I have to say, there's been 2 lines in this book where I've been like, did you have to? 2 lines, and I can let that go because it's only 2 lines and it's not really affected my enjoyment, but at the same time it should be 0 lines. So we have had 1 line that's calling sleeping with a woman a conquest. Bleh. The second line has been telling us that this woman's body and her green eyes will be the making of her in the publishing industry. And I'm just thinking like, no, her mind, her ability, her sheer talent and grit to do her job could be the making of her. let's not say the fact that she has green eyes and a nice body will be the making of her in an industry. So those two things of, I'm always wary with translated books. Obviously we don't know the original way they were written, and is it in translation that that's happened. But I think this was translated by women, the author is a man. I have problems. I don't want to feel like I find this with every single book I read, but I think the more I educate myself and learn more about feminism and about what should and shouldn't be said about women in literature, in film, in any form of media or ever, the more this is becoming glaringly obvious to me. So I am enjoying this, but I just don't see the need for those lines. I also got some book mail. I got Triflers Need Not Apply by Camilla Bruce. This is a feminist novel, so hopefully we won't have any of that in this. I'm very excited about this one. I saw this one was getting really good reviews when it was out as a proof or a pre-release copy, so I thought I'd read you the blurb quickly just before my camera battery dies. Bella Sorensen loves men. She loves them to death. Early in life, Bella Sorensen discovers the world is made only for men. They own everything, jobs, property, wives, but Bella understands what few others do. When women are concerned, men are weak. A woman unhampered by scruples can take from them what she wants, and so Bella sets out to prove to the world that a woman can be just as ruthless, black-hearted and single-minded as a man. Starting with her long-suffering husband, Mads, Bella embarks on a killing spree, the likes of which has never been seen before, or since. And through it all, her kind older sister Nellie can only watch in horror as Bella's schemes to enrich herself and cut down the male population come to a glorious, dreadful fruition. Based on the true story of Belle Gunness, whose violent deeds began in Chicago in the 1900s, Triflers Need Not Apply is a novelistic tour de force exploring one woman's determination to pay men back for all they have taken. That looks so good. I feel like this is what I need, but probably also something that's just going to fuel me and be like, patriarchy! But it's all good. Feminism does not mean hating men at all. Feminism means wanting equality, which shouldn't be a difficult thing. Maybe Bella is going to some extreme measures here, but I'm intrigued to see where this book goes. Also really enjoying the end pages. So yeah, this is my Saturday. I'm going to get to filming 3 more videos now, and hoping that there is enough room on my memory card to facilitate them all. It's the aftermath of my day of filming and finished my book. It was 3 stars. Meh. I think the last time I spoke to you I pretty much expressed all thoughts and opinions on the issues that I have with this. It's so hard to tell whether books are sexist deliberately or accidentally, in which case is a problem. It's so hard to tell because the author could be doing it to highlight stuff. There was a rape scene in that book, so trigger warning for rape. So maybe the author was including sexist, male-gazy things to highlight the problems with those kind of things for the reader. Or maybe he didn't know he was putting them in and it just reads a bit sexist. I don't know. I see this issue a lot less, obviously, with books written by women. So it's interesting that I've read 2 books written by men in a row and noticed both of them have aspects of the male gaze in them. I mean, it's not really that interesting, is it? Because they're written by men, so they're probably gonna have the male gaze in. But it's just becoming more and more apparent to me the more I read and the more I look into this kind of thing. And now I just notice it everywhere. And I really don't want to feel like I'm poking holes in every single book I read that's written by a man, because that is not what I'm trying to do, and that's not what I'm saying. Like, I think that that is not a trait of all male authors at all, but I think it seems to be just happened in a couple of the books I've read this month. So I have indeed finished 2 books this week, The Maidens and The Reader's Room. The Reader's Room I gave 3 stars, The Maidens I gave 5 stars. It was a fun time. This one confused me a bit to the end, to be honest. It could have been longer. It felt like a lot was thrown in and just had like 30 pages of explanation of everything that happened, and it just didn't work. It needed to be a little bit more spaced out rather than feeling as rushed as it was for such a short book. But it was okay. It was alright. 3 stars. That's like an average for me. So I'm going to wrap this up here because I want to be able to edit all of my videos now. It's going to be a night, guys. It's going to be a night. And eat some food. So hopefully tomorrow I can just sit and read and make a really good start on my August TBR. I don't know what book I'm going to start with, but I'm excited. So that's my plans. Thank you for joining me for another weekly reading vlog. I feel like I have a million things that I've got to remember to link down below, but hopefully it'll all be down there. Do give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and comment down below what you've been reading this month. Subscribe to see more of my face on your feed. And a link down below as well is my Patreon content, which is super exciting, and now you've seen my Fictionary video, you might want to have a look at the Patreon content because that is where they decide my prompts. I will put prompts in like from other places as well, like my brain, but my patrons get to pick the prompts that go in as well, which is exciting. So that's all linked down below. Everything's down below. Everything ever. Just go down there. It's a great experience. I promise you'll have a fun time. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Keep smiling and stay positive.